going on, everybody? It's your man, back again, like a spinal cord, huh? With another episode, people. Sip, smoke, and sales, huh? You know what time it is, huh? Like you looked at your watch, huh? On today's episode, people, huh? Don't even get me started. You know what I'm saying? On today's episode, I want everybody to give a warm welcome to not only the first lady of my heart, but the first lady of Sip, Smoke, and Sales, Miss Sierra James Pervine. Clap it up, y'all. Welcome to the show, shorty. Yeah. What's going on, man? Look, I'm hanging in there like shingles. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah. I see you representing the Sip, Smoke, and Sales. That's good. Okay, yes, sir. Yeah. Well, look, everybody probably, because on our episode of Sip, Smoke, and Sales, people have been talking about and mentioning the name Cece or Sierra. So I want you to let everybody know tuning into the show who Sierra James Pervine is. Go ahead and talk. Now, before we get into that, you already know my motto. Relax like baby hair, huh? Get you, pour up something to drink, because we got that. Get you something to smoke. We definitely got that. And let's get into talking this sales shit. Y'all ready? Huh? Go ahead and toast. Yeah, beautiful queen. All right, yeah.
Here's to it.
Now, I know you don't smoke ganja like your husband. So you smoking a cigar today, huh?
This
ain't a cigar, people. This is actually weed. You know what I'm saying? Tune into the show. But tell everybody on Sip, Smoke, and Sales who Sierra James Pervine is.
Well, pretty much, I'm just a regular person from Baltimore. You know, I started off, we had really humble beginnings. I was born in East Baltimore. By the time I was in grade school, we had moved on up, like George and Weezy.
Oh,
you know, over to the west side of Baltimore. I'm raised mainly in Baltimore County. You know, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a Christian, I'm a businesswoman. But
all the above, huh?
All of that.
It said select D for all the above.
Yeah, that
ain't no wrong with that. Multiple choice. Okay,
absolutely.
All right. Hey, look, I like your style like you're a fashion model. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
So you said you grew up originally on the east side. Then you transitioned to the west side?
Yes, that's
okay,
right.
All right, from the east to the west, right? All right. So how long have you personally been in sales?
That's a good question. I've been in sales for most of my life. I would say in my adult years, I would say at least the last 15 to 16 years I've been in sales.
Wow. Okay.
But I started sales before I knew I was doing sales, like early on. You know, I was a Girl Scout. So my first sales interaction was primarily, we used to go and sell the Girl Scout cookies. You know, everybody loved the cookies. And so we would go to those little supermarkets or the shopping centers and things like that. And I would sell to people in my church, fundraising and things like that. I didn't know I was selling. I was just always trying to get the prize because I'm real competitive. So they were like, oh, you know, if you sell, you get this. It's a boombox or a speaker or something that I didn't have.
I remember seeing those things. I wanted it too.
So yeah, I was just selling just because I wanted the prize. I didn't realize that it was a sale. You know, what I did a lot when I was younger, because I didn't realize I was selling, I would talk to people like about the value. You know, it wasn't so much about the cookie. It didn't matter if you like the cookie. Okay. Do you want to help a young black girl?
So hold on. So I just want to pause you for a moment in time. You said at a young age.
Yeah.
You already knew how to focus in on the value of something.
Yeah.
Not the actual product itself.
Yes, because I
How
remember.
old were you when you did this?
Girl Scouts, I would say about 6, 7 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, but I remember thinking, you know, being at the supermarket was where we got our most sales, honestly, because people come in and out the market, and we would be standing there with our cookies, and people like, oh no, I don't eat that, I don't like cookies, or you know, I'm trying to watch my weight, and so we would get some sales, you know, just off the sympathy and empathy, you know, of people, and what I realized was that one of the ladies walked up to me, and she said, thank you, sir.
Sip, smoke, and sales. You got to be smoking and talking about sales.
Yeah, but I remember a young lady said to me, she said, you know, I don't like cookies, you know, but it's something about you. And, you know, I'm not buying the cookies. I'm doing it because, you know, I like you. And so I was like, well, shoot, that's a new pitch right there. I'm like, you know, you want some cookies? No, do you like me? You know, you want to help a young girl out. You want to help out what we're doing. You know, we just here, you know, helping out the community. You know, we give back to the community. You know, Girl Scouts, if anybody knows about them, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, we give back to the community on a regular basis.
It's true.
So it's like, you know, we out there picking up trash, we clean up the city, we doing all types of stuff, right? So I'm like, y'all want to support that, don't y'all? Y'all don't gotta clean up the trash. We gonna clean the trash for you. Just buy some cookies so we can get out there.
That's the least you can do, right?
The least you can do,
right, well,
right? So early on, I was able to listen to people and figure out how to get them to say yes to me.
Okay.
So,
right. So you know, even just saying that tidbit right there lets me know that you were a little ahead of your time, like you traveled in the future. You know what I'm saying? So like
probably.
That, again, 6, 7 years old, people think sales start when a person starts a sales job. If you can narrow it down to the common denominator of you actually selling your mama when you used to ask to go for permission to go outside, right? To go ride your bike or go play with your friends, and she didn't want to do, like, it's all sales, right? But she's talking about 6, 7 years old. She's knowledgeable, not thinking. She's knowledgeable about the value in a product, not the product itself. Spoken like a true genius.
Yeah.
All right. So, next question. What industry are you in now? And what do you particularly do in that industry?
So right now I am primarily in the energy deregulation market.
And what is that?
And so for people who don't know what, you know, energy deregulation is.
Talk to them.
It's in Maryland and in a couple of other states throughout the United States of America, there were companies that were actually deregulated. And all that means is that the customers are able to choose, you know, a supplier, right? And so I primarily focus on, you know, recruiting, retention, building teams, things like that. That's what I'm doing now. Of course, I started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
Okay, Drake.
You know, but that's the primary industry that I'm in. We have some community solar going on. Of course, you're my husband. So, you know.
If you didn't know.
We're doing Advantage, you know.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
This thing right here?
Wonder cleaner. Yeah, so, you know, whatever is you is me. Resynate, that's you, that's me. You know, so couple different little industries we're dabbling in. The family is looking into taking another avenue. We're going into the wellness market, wellness and wholeness market, you know. So
okay, all right, and not to interrupt anything like a unscheduled program, right? But this episode is not only brought to you by the wonderful Sierra, but it's also brought to you by Grand Coromino, which we sipping on. Want to take a little toast again? Yes, Belle.
Why not?
Yeah, thank you for being on the show. It's brought to you also by the best thing smoking, like a freight train. Advantage the Wonder Cleaner. If you're having problems rubbing and scrubbing, choose Advantage. Leaves more time for hugging and loving, Don't blame me, blame my mama. She had it.
All right now.
And the next thing that you did mention is something started with an R. You said Resynate. If you can see the shirt, click the link in the description. Don't worry about it. Holistic CBD THC company, been out for over a decade. If you don't know, now you know, So click the link in the description. But back to you, beautiful, Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We in business. That's what we in. Right
Yeah, because you dropping some jewels on these people, Like we playing Bejeweled. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
What made you want to do sales at an early age? Because Girl Scouts is something that some people join up with, right? So that's something that your mom may make you, your dad may make you, something you may not, at that age, you don't have somebody's leading you to it. It's not what you're decided to do, correct? So what made you personally want to do sales like after that?
So there were a couple of things. So I went to college at Morgan. And
Morgan State.
Shout out to Morgan.
All right.
So I was at Morgan, back on the east side, you know, where I started.
Okay.
And my dad had I don't know, I always been in sales. So like for me, it wasn't, like I said, I didn't realize I was in sales until I knew I was in sales. So my dad had a cell phone store. I sold phones. I worked in a mattress warehouse. I sold mattresses. And I remember my first job when I came out of college. I was working at a collection agency. And so at the collection agency I was working at, it was a pretty simple job. I worked about 7:30. I think it was like till 3 or 3:30. We got a half an hour break. I was an hourly employee, and so my job primarily was to send out the letters to the customers who owed like UPS money, and we had a couple of other big vendors, clients that we represented. And so I would put these letters together, get everything, and then I would go give it to the paralegal. She would stamp it, and then we would mail them off, right? So basically, I was just harassing people, not on the phone, just sending them letters all the time.
So you used
right?
to put the smack down on people like The Rock.
Yeah, so
Ain't
that's
no
what I
wrong
was
with
doing,
that.
right?
Okay.
But I was doing that, and I was really good. I was really, really good at it. And I remember everybody in the office, like the paralegals, they would always be praising me. And because I was so good and I was so efficient, they would give me more work, right? So it's like I was doing my work. It was a young lady working with me named Jada. I was doing Jada work. It was another lady who had been there for 15 years. I was doing her work because once I was done, it was like, I got all this time left, but you on the clock, so you got to work when you on the clock, right? So I was doing all this stuff, and I think at the time I was making about $10 an hour, so we got paid weekly, and I remember my weekly paycheck, and I was about 19 years old. It was $320, right? And so in my mind, I said, when I was working for my dad, and we were doing sales, I was getting paid $1,000 a week. This is at 14.
Hold on. You said at 14, you was making how much?
About $1,000 a week.
Because I heard this before. But people that think Monopoly money be out there, it's not Monopoly.
No.
You said at 14 you was working for your father.
Yes.
And he was paying you how much?
$1,000 a week.
Oh, wow.
And that's because, my dad, he had got a contract with TCI, which is Comcast, which turned to Xfinity now. But we had a contract with them, and his sales reps were, selling, and my job was just to input the information. Before they called into the call center, because if the call center got the information before we put it in, then they gonna steal our sale, right?
All right.
So he was paying me $1,000 just to work around the clock, get these sales in. When I give them to you, get them in. And we were a high producing, company. So we had hundreds of sales per day. So I was good at putting the information in the system. And so I was making $1,000 a week at 14. They had me making a lot of money because they was willing to pay a 14-year-old $1,000 a week, right? But I'm here at this company. I'm doing my workload and two other people. One of them is a senior in the company, and my check is $320. So for me, I just didn't understand.
More work, less money.
Yeah, I didn't understand that concept. I don't understand the concept of outworking a person and getting paid the same amount. So for me, it just didn't make sense. So I said, you know what? I'm going to look for like a job where they're going to pay me my worth, right? And so what I figured out early on was it was sales, because my dad had been a salesman his whole life, and I seen him start from the bottom.
And shout out to your father. Shout him out. If you don't know, now you know. Can you shout out? He was on a few episodes ago, people. Who's your father?
Yeah, Jesse James. Charles Jesse James. That's my daddy. And, he always made a lot of money. And I remember my dad was telling me, he had a high school education. And he said, it's not that I'm smarter than people, CC. I just outwork people a lot.
Hold on. Can you just dial it back a little bit, rewind like 3 seconds? And he said it was what?
He said, it's not that I'm smarter than people. He had a high school, my father has a high school diploma. That's it, that's all. It never went past there. But he was able to outwork most of his counterparts. And, it was people with, master degrees, with doctorates, lawyers, doctors, professionals, he always made more money than them. And he took a lot of time and bet on himself early on in his life. And so I said, chances are the apple don't fall too far from the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at me. Okay. And I'm going to see what I can do, right?
All right.
Good news is that the apple stayed right on the tree in this instance. I ain't even fall. I stayed right there. I was right on the tree.
So you still get nutrients?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, the good news was that I was able to, just to bet on myself. So yeah, my first sales job, outside of like the mattresses and all that, it was an energy deregulation. And I remember going to the office that I was working in, and I remember being really, really broke at the time. I was really broke. I was so broke. My cell phone was off. I was eating on a dollar menu. I remember eating noodles like every night. Just like broke, like real broke. And my dad, like I said, he always had money. But he always said, God bless the child to have his own. He believed that, right? And so, if you meet my dad...
Can you say the whole quote for me? Can you just say the whole quote for me?
No, it's just, God bless the child that has his own.
Yeah, mama may have, daddy may have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but God bless his...
God bless the child that has his own.
Yeah, he will.
Right? And so, my dad made his children very independent because he wasn't willing to give us handouts. He's like, I'll teach you life lessons. I'll help you along if you get into a really bad spot. But, he made sure that we felt it, right? It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to come rescue you. He said, switch your phone off, you You over 18? Okay, you turn your phone back on. I'm like, Daddy, I got an eviction notice. Okay, you go ahead. You can get evicted. I mean, you got two things that's gonna happen. One, you're gonna figure out how to get the money so you don't get evicted. Or two, you gonna get evicted. Come move back with me. Either way, you straight. So like, what you gonna do? And the way his rules was set up, I knew I had to go to work. I wasn't going back. I had to go to work.
Rules. I heard about
so, you know, for me, to answer your question, it was like I was purely money motivated. You know, it was the fact that working a regular job, it doesn't make you anything. Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't willing to make $300 every week. That wasn't going to work for me. That don't pay any bills. That actually made all the bills late in the first place. You know, that's the reason why I couldn't pay nothing on time, because I was getting $300 a week. Mm-hmm. You know, my credit got shot up, all that happened. You know, so I figured, you know, let's see what I could do. And so when I went to my first sales job with the energy, I worked, and I really didn't think I was good. But then I remember at the end of my first week, they was like, "Oh, you did so well, da 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 da." And I remember coming into the meeting on a Monday morning, and it was a guy there. His name was Ron, Mr. Ron. Mr. Ron that week he had just wrote 100 sales for the week. And I was looking, I was like, dang, he wrote 100 sales? And so it was my first week, I wrote 46. So I was pretty good for a new person, right? Mm-hmm. But Ron wrote 100. So I'm like, well, how do you get to 100 sales in a week? That was what my mind was thinking. And right on the spot, the person who was running the office at the time, he gave Ron like a bonus, cash bonus. And I'm thinking, how can this cash bonus change my life in this moment? Because I'm broke, mm-hmm. right? So I said, all right, let me talk to Ron. As soon as the meeting was over, I said, Ron, let me hear your pitch. You know, he was like, let me hear your pitch. I said, what you want to hear my pitch for? You wrote 100. Let me hear your pitch. Right? So he gave me his pitch. As soon as he gave me his pitch, literally the next day I went out, wrote that day I wrote 17 sales. You know, that week I wrote 120. I wrote 100 sales every week for the next 6 weeks. They promoted me, game over from there.
So you said you wrote 100 sales for the next 6 weeks in a row?
6 weeks in a row. Yeah, I wasn't broke no more.
Did it?
I felt good about that. You know, sis wasn't broke no more. And it wasn't like I said, you know, back then I didn't know a whole lot. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to answer objections. I just knew how to do a lot. The blessing was I had worked with my dad while he was selling insurance, and I used to watch his sickening work ethic. You know, bell to bell, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. He'd be out there working. He said, "CC, we gonna get off at this time," and I'm like, "All right, it's that time. Mm-hmm. It's 8:30. You said we was getting off at 8:30." He's like, "Well, I mean, I'm about to go inside this building." Why? Why are we going to the building? And so, you know, he had a lot of discipline. He taught me that, you know, you can always hit your goal, right? So the first thing he taught me was to always have a set time frame to work, right? So if the hours are 9 to 8, you work 9 to 8. It don't matter if you're having a great day or a bad day, right? Because if you work in the time frame, because a lot of times what will happen is with salespeople, you'll have a good day, right? Mm-hmm. And your day be popping, and you'll take off early that day because you already made your money for the day. It's like, well, I made my money go for the day, but what you don't know is that you have momentum on your side. So that day is a day that you could really turn it out, but you stop early because you don't have in your mind to work your set time, right? And so he taught me, first thing was to work your set time, and then he taught me it was a discipline and reward system. So if you hit your goal, mm-hmm. right, and it's the set time, you get to get off. But if you don't hit your goal at the set time, guess what? It ain't never hurt nobody to work a little bit longer. Yeah, so like, keep on working till you hit your goal. So like, that's what he taught me. It was like, boom, you always gonna hit your goal. Because either you're gonna hit your goal because you're gonna work extra hours, or you're gonna go over your goal because you're gonna work to the hour you said. But what you gotta do is work to the hour that you said. And if you go over, you go over. You know, so it was just a sickening work ethic. And I took that with me right into that business. And I was eating them people alive for a minute. I was just eating them. So yeah, that's kind of.
Well, used to that, huh?
Yeah.
I hope you was taking notes, people. Huh? Set times, stop time. Mm-hmm. Come on, like if you're not paying attention, mm-hmm. huh? It's because you don't want to. You got your ears closed, huh? Just close your eyes and open your ears up. That's all you got to do. Huh? Just pay attention. Now, I'm gonna talk a little shit because I know who this is sitting next to me.
Gosh.
So you know, with that said, right? Mm-hmm. Your father was the truth. I can't take anything from nobody because if you that, you that. He was the truth when it came to car sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was the fucking truth. Listen to me. Check the books if you don't believe. Huh? He was the truth when it came to insurance. Am I correct?
Number one.
Also yourself, right? But also yourself. Like you was like next down. Like if there was like one, there was two, and that was you. It wasn't nobody else that worked.
Insurance also.
Right. So, and how many people did your father have working for him that he was beating on a consistent basis?
I guess the biggest organization was right around 100. On average, I would say like 50 to 60 people.
Gots to be more careful, and I ain't saying that because I'm in Maryland.
And I mean that was his organization. That wasn't the insurance company. This is crazy. My dad, he's really big at, you know, marketing, networking, this and the other. You know, building up teams, that's like a part of his DNA, right? So his personal team had about 50, 60 people on average, right? But we worked for a Fortune 500 company, right? So, for instance, I guess I should shout out Baltimore Life, because that's right here in Baltimore, right? That's in Owens Mills. Baltimore Life has agents all across the nation, right? And so he would be number one across the nation, not just in the state of Maryland. It was across the nation. It was sickening. Yeah. So we would get invited to all the conferences. We would, you know, stay up in the hotel for free, you know, get all the cruises. We literally win everything. But in our office, after my father trained me, it was my daddy and then me. And like I said, when I sold insurance, I didn't know nothing. There's some people who have been selling for like 10, 15 years, you know. They were old enough to be my parents. But I had worked with him. So my work ethic was similar to his. It was nowhere
sickening
near where he was.
Yeah, but it was still sickening.
Yeah,
compared to other people.
I was right there.
All right, so it was 1 and 2, right?
Absolutely.
And now you would also say that your father did energy. Like the residential door-to-door, business-to-business energy sales, right?
Yeah, he didn't actually do the business. He so in energy, he didn't actually do the business. By that point in his life, he was actually into building teams. So he built a lot of the energy teams. He kept us motivated. He ran the bonuses. He opened up the offices. He was like the money behind the mix.
Got you. So he was the capital behind the actual movement, right?
Yes.
All right. So, and I just want to clear this up. Who taught him the energy business?
That would be
yours truly, huh? Oh, look, I was saying, look, not taking anything from how great he is. Never. Can't take away from greatness. But I'm saying that no matter what genre of sales it is, this man's going to excel.
Yeah,
but the fact that he taught her something, if you didn't catch this, I'm going to throw it at you. Get a glove.
Yeah.
You in return taught him something that is still profitable to this day, correct?
Yeah, our family's still in the energy industry right now.
Got to be more careful. That's all I'm saying. Man.
Yeah, no, I owed him that one because I kind of messed up. And I ain't gonna talk about that.
All right, well, we're gonna move on.
on live, but you know, we're
gonna move past that like we playing Duck, Duck, Goose.
I owed them that one.
Yeah, you don't wrong with it. All right.
It was a return. You feel me?
So, what two advantages? Because, you know, one reason I love the fact that, for one, you're the first lady of SIP&SMOKE Sales. You know what I'm saying? Again, first lady of my heart. But the thing I love is that
you're what? What you say?
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Okay, of your heart.
Him's married, whatever they say. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I love is that you're a female. And a lot of females feel the same way.
Right.
When they come into the sales industry.
Okay.
It's male dominated.
Absolutely.
So when you're giving this perspective for all the females out there, don't believe in yourself as much. You know what I'm saying? Think you taking the back seat to people when you should be really riding in the front. Matter of fact, you can get chauffeured if you want to. You know what I'm saying? This is why I brought you on the show, because you get to give them enlightenment and vision into what it really means to be an actual hustler, right? So what two characteristics that you gather from sales that you don't get into a 9-to-5?
The two characteristics
like the advantages.
Gave
like the advantages that you get from doing sales opposed to working a 9-to-5. Because you have worked a 9-to-5 before, would you say?
Once.
Unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
But what would you say is like the advantages you gained over doing sales? And just give them two.
Well, primarily it was just the opportunity to have the flexibility to make the amount of money I want to make. Right? So like I talked about earlier, I don't like people putting a cap on my salary. I just think that should be illegal, honestly. But I know we got to do what we got to do. You know, as business owners, I don't
ban
want
the
to,
cat.
I don't want to,
Ban even
knock
people
your
capping,
shine,
right?
right? But it's like, that was the first thing. Like, really, honestly, the number one motivating force for me to go into sales was simply because I needed to make a lot of money quickly and legally. Right? Because it's like, you can go make some sales some other kind of way.
You can.
But I'm not into that, right? Because a girl like me don't deserve to be
I had
no
to let
way.
that grow like that Frozen song. You know what I'm saying?
But in a nice, comfortable house. I can't live nowhere else, okay? So, that was the first thing. And the second thing I would say was, I guess it taught me different disciplines than you would have. I mean, I guess in a 9 to 5, you have to be disciplined to a certain extent, right? You have to get there on time. You have to do certain things. But it was just the disciplines to work when no one was watching, to go when no one was around me, to, keep my focus without someone having to tell me or stand over top of my back and say, hey, are you focused? In sales, they'll tell when you're not focused. It's very clear. Your paycheck will say, I was not focused.
I was not focused. Yep.
It's very simple. It's no in between. There are no cut cards in sales.
Okay, all right. Well,
So.
we're used to that. You know what I'm saying? Used to that. So all great salespeople pull from somewhere, right?
Oh gosh.
They pull from somewhere great.
Uh-huh.
Whether it been your father, whether it been some of the tapes and audio stuff that y'all listen
Yeah.
to on the trips to Florida that I've heard about, like 14 plus hours, and you ain't listen to no music and listen to Jim Rohn, like Tony Robbins, like all that stuff,
Horrible.
right? What's one of the things that's like a go-to for you when it comes to the motivation? Like when you.
All right. Well, I'll two, and you name both of them. One is my dad, and two is Jim Rohn. So with Jim Rohn, I was listening to him. I would have to be about, I would say 14, when we used to listen to Jim Rohn all day, every day. Couldn't understand why. At the time, I hated it. I'm like, why can't I have a normal parent? I get in here, I can't listen to Jay-Z. I got to listen to Jim Rohn. It was horrible, right? But what I liked about Jim Rohn, the one thing that stuck with me even to today, he would say, when you work, work. When you play, play. Don't mix the two, right? And so as a child, I would always make fun of him and his voice. But I was like, wow, that's like a pretty powerful message. Because a lot of times, people get caught up trying to have a good time when they're supposed to be working.
Can you repeat that for me?
So, yeah.
They caught up doing what? They
get caught up having a good time when you're supposed to be at work. You're supposed to be at work, but you having a good time. You on the phone with your boo. You sending text messages. You out here, having smoke breaks.
Social media crazy.
Yeah, doing the most. You're doing everything except for work. But it's like when you work, go to work. Like if you got dressed, you got up in the morning, you showed up, you put everything on, your arm on, everything is ready to go. When you get to work, go to work.
Okay.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of going to work, right? If they say it another way, in the songs, they say, work hard, play hard. I heard that in somebody's song. Can't remember who it was. Wiz Khalifa. Yeah, shout out to him. But work hard, play hard. It's the same exact message that Jim Rohn said. When you work, work. When you play, play. You don't mix the two. So when you at work, you work hard. When you play hard, right? And you can only play hard if you don't work hard.
Come on.
Right? Because you have to reward yourself for all the hard work you done put in. You can afford to play hard. You can afford to the finer things in life. You can afford to go places and do things, piss away a little bit of money. You can do that kind of stuff when you work hard. But people spend too much time, playing while they at work. And they broke. You got just enough money to pay your bills. I don't understand that. That's a crazy concept in sales.
I would tell you this. You over here, you got me fired up like the Human Torch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got me fired up. I ain't a Fantastic Four member. You know what I'm saying? But wife blatantly put it, people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's simple. I will do the things today that others won't do.
Yes.
So I can have the things tomorrow that others won't have.
Come on.
Everybody ain't willing to do it, but the ones that are, you can see the results. And then people that are still wondering or looking like, why hasn't it happened to me? Is because you just haven't taken that first step yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So again, play when you play, but work when you work. And what would you say would be the second one?
The other one was my dad. So I pulled a lot of inspiration from him. It's been so many things he said to me. But, one thing that always sticks with me is that hard work beats talent. When talent don't work hard.
God damn.
Yeah.
I've heard this for like 11 years now.
Listen, and we tell our daughter, don't we? Yeah, but, I think that's so true. With people, no matter what genre you're in, there are people who are naturally talented in that genre, in that space, right?
True.
So it doesn't matter, whether you are in media, whether you are a cosmetologist or hairstylist, if you're doing lashes, if you are in every industry has people who are they're just naturally gifted at doing what they do, right? In sports, doesn't matter what sport you look at, there are people who are naturally talented. Soccer, football, basketball, tennis, it don't matter what sport it is, right? There are people who are naturally talented. But the difference is the people who actually outwork them, right? Because you can have all the talent in the world, but the only people that make it to the top, the only people that master the actual craft, are the people who outwork the other people. That's it. That's all.
That would be I.
Yeah.
It would be.
So he said, hard work will beat talent every day of the week. You might naturally be talented. You may naturally have the gift of gab, but it don't matter. Like I said, my second week in the business, I beat out my whole office. Everybody had been there before me. I didn't know nothing, but I was outworking them. I had hunger. I was broke. I wanted it more than everybody else.
Okay.
So I was able to beat those people because I was willing to be hardworking. Now, sometimes talent is a gift and a curse, because when you have talent, sometimes you don't hone your craft. Sometimes you don't practice. Sometimes you don't put in extra hours because you know that you're already good at it. It's like, on my bad day, I'm going to be good because I'm naturally blessed, right? Thank God for that. But the people who become the master, the people who are at the top of that league, they always the people who put in work. It's never the people who aren't in the gym who are winning the games. It's the people in the gym winning the games. Those are the people that's winning the games. It's not the people who are out here partying, having a good time. No, it's the people who have discipline, the people who are focused, the people who are, not spending time with their family and their friends, unfortunately, because they got to practice their craft. They don't get the luxury to just chill out and hang out. Just because I'm talented doesn't mean I don't have to work on my talents. If you don't work on your talents, you're losing. God has naturally blessed each and every one of us with multiple talents and multiple gifts. But guess what? Most people are only good at maybe one or two things because they only work on one or two things. Some people ain't good at nothing. Some people work for other people. That's all they do. That's all they can do in life is let someone else tell them what to do, because they're not disciplined enough to go and do it themselves. They're not disciplined enough to work on their talent. So, that was the other one for me.
Right.
It's just hard work, be talent.
Yeah,
to be hard working, you gonna become talented eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll become talented. You'll be just as talented as this guy if you keep on working hard. You know why? Because you can learn every single day.
Yep.
It's very simple. It's not rocket science here. It's a very simple process. If I keep on working, I keep on disciplining myself, I keep on putting in the effort, I'm going to be great. Period.
Listen, I try to tell people all the time, when I speak candidly about my wife, I've met great sales women. I've met great sales leaders that were women. The woman that trained me in sales naturally, Amy Watson, she's a monster, right? My mother, I came from her. She's a monster, that queen, right? But when I'm speaking about this queen right here, it's just certain things that people can take and pull from her. It's not just the confidence. It's not just the knowledge, right? It's the actual implementation of the stuff. Taken from and putting it into a foundation to make sure that it actually fits you and whatever you're trying to do in that vein to accomplish whatever it is, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the thing I want people on SIP&SMOKE Sales to pull from. But from a queen's perspective, she's giving it to you raw. And I ain't talking about the paper, people. I ain't talking about the roller paper. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let me ask you this. They say it's never, because you mentioned this earlier, it's never what you're doing when people looking at you.
Yeah.
And they got your optical. People know I got big ass eyes, right?
Yeah.
It's always the things that you're doing when no one's looking. What's that key thing for you?
Man, all right. So I have to digress a teeny bit. I am a wholeheartedly Christian woman. When nobody's looking, I pray. That's what I pray all day, every day. I pray.
Talk to 'em.
I pray in my head. I pray out loud. I spend a lot of time talking to me and getting me right, talking to me and getting me straight and getting me focused. Because when I'm confused, when I don't have perspective, I go to God in prayer. That's the easiest way to let go and let God. And I'm just gonna be, people like, oh, that's so cliche. That's real. That's what I do. I don't do a whole bunch of stuff when people ain't watching, but I will pray when people are watching, when they aren't watching, because for me, that keeps me focused. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me humble. But yeah, that's really like what I do.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm talking about.
You probably know. I've been thinking about some things.
Let go and let God. I'm telling you,
Absolutely.
she said it simply. Listen, profoundly simple and simply profound, as Mr. J was saying. You know what I'm saying? All right, so what do you think one of the most effective sales training techniques is that every salesperson should learn?
That's a good question.
Give me one. Like one that if someone came into your office space, because you're the truth when it comes to retaining, recruiting, growing businesses, right? In a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
Let me add that tidbit. In a male-dominated industry, right?
Yeah.
But what's one of the things that you think if I came into your office, what's one of the first things you want to tell me to master?
I'm gonna tell you, master your confidence. That's the first thing. You gotta have confidence.
And why?
Because the thing about confidence is that people love confident people. People talk to confident people. People buy from confident people, right? They don't talk to people who are shy and timid. It's very hard to make a sale if you don't know how to open your mouth, right?
Yes,
so work on the confidence. So when people come in, they're not normally used to the industry. I personally, nobody believes it, but it's true. If you knew me when you knew me, I'm naturally shy.
It's true.
But I have a lot of confidence. And so my confidence outweighs my shyness, and it makes me do what I need to do in order for me to get paid. I gotta get paid. That's the bottom line. Is I need to get paid. So, I would say, the confidence is key. You have to have confidence. You have to believe in yourself, believe in your product if that works for you. But I think believing in yourself is probably the number one thing you need to do.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. Now, you know what time it is, people. Crazy sales story time. You know, I ask everybody that comes on my show. On SIP, SMOKE, and Sales, I need to know uncandidly the thing that happened to you, whether it been in the field, office space, walking down the street, it had to do with sales. What happened? Give it to the people.
I have so many crazy sales stories. I don't even know where to start. But one of my most exhilarating sales stories was, this is good. I remember one time I was working in Harford County, and this was back in my door knocking days when I was actually out there in the field getting it. And they had like a small team out there with me. I remember knocking on this guy's door, and he must have been like a nefarious character, right? He must have been up to no good. Because when he came to the door with a gun drawn, right? And so the average salesperson probably would have tucked their tail and ran.
Yeah.
I was looking for a sale. I knew I wasn't there to do nothing wrong.
Malicious,
right?
yeah.
So, I just act like I didn't see the gun that was pulled on me. He pulled the gun on me, and I'm at his door, and I'm just picturing this man, and my palms are sweaty, my hands are shaking. I'm just like, oh my Lord, this guy's like, he's about to murder me.
Eminem verse, right?
Yeah, he's
Palms
about
sweaty,
to murder
knees
me,
weak, arms.
right? But I'm from Baltimore. I ain't no punk, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna sit there and keep on
Be
talking.
more now.
Yeah. Boy, he put that gun on me, and I'm just like, I'm gonna keep pitching, cause I gotta pitch, and I gotta make this pitch believable, cause I want him to know that I'm not here for none of that. I don't want no smoke. So yeah, I end up pitching this guy, and 2 seconds later, he went in the house, came back out with what I asked him for. So the gun still, it wasn't drawn this time, but he had it down or whatever. He gave me what I was looking for. And I was like, yeah, I just need your phone number. I need your email. So I'm just, in my book writing. He's like, you want to step in? I was like, sir, I seen the gun. No, I don't want to step in. He was like, no, my bad, shorty. I didn't mean to scare you. I thought you was trying to set me up. I said, no, I'm out here working. He said, no, because don't nobody come knock on my door. I just moved over here. I just left the city because I ain't want no smoke in the city, da-da-da. So I'm like, nah, bro, I ain't with none of that. I'm with this. He was like, oh, all right. He was like, yeah, little sis, you got heart. You got heart. So I'm thinking yeah, I had to have heart because I was extremely nervous. And I just so happened to be by myself. So I was like, why can't somebody be with me? But that was probably the craziest thing that ever happened. Yeah. But, the bottom line was I got that sale. So I was like, and after that, I'm like, yeah, can't nobody hold me down. They can't stop me because I'm like, the man pulled a gun on me. I just made a sale at gunpoint. Yeah. What you talking about? And he let me walk, and he was nice, and he put the gun away, and he gave me some water, and a sandwich, what I'm saying? Okay. So it's yeah, he was with all of that, but yeah, that was kind of, that was a little something. But yeah, a lot of crazy things have happened.
You know what you said? He's with all that. Like he played like he's from Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
all that.
All that.
All right, so let me ask you this. Envision you're creating the perfect salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
What 3 characteristics would you give this salesperson and why?
Okay. I would give my salesperson work ethic. We talked about that today. Simply because, you know, you got to be willing to work. You got to be able to show up. Yeah. You got to want it, you know. So the work ethic is important to me. I think if I had an ideal salesperson, they would be hungry, you know, driven, motivated, that type of thing. Just because, you know, without that hunger and drive, it's hard to make a person like push beyond their limits. You know, you gotta be hungry. Like some people come in and they just don't want it a little bit. They really want it, and you can tell immediately because they're so tuned in. They're so focused. They're so in your face. Yeah. They're like, "What's up? What you doing? How you doing it? I need to do it just like that because I'm trying to get to that bag just like that, right?" So I would say work ethic. I would say the drive, and ideal salesperson. Who do I want? What do I want? Confidence. Same stuff I talked about earlier. Confidence. I think confidence is important.
Why is confidence important though?
Because it's hard to teach confidence. I think that's one of the hardest things to teach. Is one of the things that I try to get people to learn early on. But that's hard to teach. Like if you don't have it, it takes a while to get it. Yeah. Like you got to kind of come with a certain level of confidence. You don't have to be confident in the fact that you know the product or you know what to sell or how to sell it, but you got to be confident in you. I've met some people, or especially women that I've mentored in this business. You know, they've come in and they were so confident, like, yeah, I'm it. And I'm like, oh, sis, you about to get the bag, because of your personality, you know, you about to get it because you believe in yourself. And like I said, if you believe in yourself, people believe in you too. Yeah, that's true. They can feel that energy. Yeah. It bounces off of you, you know. So it's like boom. When you have good confidence, you have that energy, you have that drive, that work ethic, all those things put together, you make a monster out there in the streets. Yeah, that's true. Confidence plays a big part again. But that, you know, I always I do a lot of studying, as you know, and I've been around like a boomerang, right? And it came back. Yeah. So one thing that I've learned that with confidence is that you really just have to know you. Yeah. Because the more you know you, the more confident you could be in you. Would you agree? All right. I agree with that. Yeah. Okay. You have to know you, but you don't have to know you 100%. Not 100%, but you do have to know you enough to keep building, right? Yeah, like Bob the Builder, all right? And let me ask you the last question. What would be the best advice you would give a young queen, a young lady out here in the sales industry trying to come up, take it to the next level? What will be the key words you will leave her with? She called you on the phone and say, "Hey, Sierra, girl, yeah, it's been a long time. Look, I'm trying to do this new venture. What's going to take me to the next level?" What's the key words you're going to give her? I'm going to tell her focus. You know, focus. Be focused and be determined. You know, don't worry about the no's. Don't take no for an answer. Every person falls down, but it's not the fall down that's important. It's the recovery time. Every person falls. If you got to fall, but you got to get back up. And your recovery time is the difference between you being a bum and you being a great person. God damn. It's the recovery time. So yeah, you got to make sure your recovery time is on point, sis. You know, we all got heartbreaks. We all got heartaches. We all lose family members. Everybody go through something, right? You ain't going to be the first or the last. But you actually got to be able to fall and fail forward. That's the thing. Fail forward. Okay. Go ahead. Failing ain't the problem. Every good person has failed. Fail forward. It don't matter if you don't get it right the first time. You go ahead, put it out there. Boom. Couple things ain't right. Go back to the room. You know, fix it up, chop it out, throw it out again. You like that one? No, I can tweak a couple more things. All right, bring it back up. It don't matter how many times you fail. Your recovery time is what's important. Okay. All right. That's it. That's all. Spoken like a true champion, huh? And you wonder why I felt like Jagged Edge when I first met her. You know why? Let's get married. Hey, don't blame me, people. This has been another episode, people, of Sip, Smoke, and Sales. Thank you for tuning in like your favorite TV show. Yeah. We got to give it up for Miss Sierra Pervine right here. Thank you for blessing the show. I appreciate you. Yeah. Blessing Holly flavor because you're chocolate. Oh, yeah. Look,
I'ma see y'all around, huh? Like we playing cops and robbers, huh? We can play chase back and forth, but follow me and check me out like a grocery item. I'ma see y'all on the next episode, man. Peace.